Last Friday, the Kentucky General Assembly passed Senate Bill 1, which localizes various aspects of the pandemic response, providing increased flexibility for school districts, school boards, and superintendents to make decisions regarding COVID-19 mitigation measures that are aligned with each community's circumstances. Since the pandemic started, Warren County Public Schools has strived to make COVID-19 protocol decisions that are based on what we truly believe to be in the best interest of our students, our staff, and the community at large. We've remained in consistent contact with our local health department and our local hospitals to monitor disease transmission rates, hospital capacity, and other parameters to inform our district's COVID protocol decisions. Let me be clear, our goal is to continue doing our part to help mitigate the spread of the virus throughout our community, while also safely keeping our students in school 5 days a week with in-person instruction. The data is irrefutable that this is what is truly in the best interest of all of our students. Our students need to be educated in person in order to perform academically at the highest levels, and this is also critical for their social and emotional development. Our district leaders and Board of Education members are not public health experts, and from the very beginning, we have followed the governor's mandates and the guidance provided to us by the entities responsible for public health. However, with the legislation that has recently been passed, we are now in the difficult position of making public health decisions that impact our students and our staff, as well as our greater community. Although we do not have community alignment, we remain committed to doing our part to help mitigate the spread of the virus within our greater community through the implementation of various layers of safety measures designed to protect our students and our staff. Some of those measures include continued required proper masking and social distancing of at least 3 feet or more, the continued use of hospital-grade one-step cleaner in all district schools and facilities, the use of electrostatic sprayers to help deliver the disinfectant to areas that could be missed by regular cleaning, and our district's advanced safety technology capacity to increase the outdoor air circulating throughout all of our buildings. After our sharp and quick rise in COVID cases across our community, on August the 9th, WCPS announced a mask requirement for all students and staff to begin on August the 11th, before the governor's executive order or the Kentucky Department of Education's emergency regulation. This decision was made under the legal authority of the school district. Under Senate Bill 1, school districts are now required to submit a new and revised COVID response plan to the Kentucky Department of Education by Wednesday, September the 15th. Due to this short turnaround and the current conditions of COVID cases in our community, as well as the impact on our healthcare system, I will recommend to our Board of Education members that we continue the implementation of the district-wide mask requirement throughout the month of October. This will allow us the opportunity to monitor exposures related to fall break activities, as our historical data reflects the increase in exposures and quarantines after extended breaks from school, including the Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, and spring break. Moving forward, WCPS will be working with local and state health officials to develop a set of metrics that will guide future decisions in regard to the mask requirement. Until such metrics are set and developed and implemented, Warren County Public Schools will monitor school and community conditions, and any changes to our COVID-19 protocols will be communicated by the end of each month. You may be asking why I make this recommendation. Prior to experiencing the positive impact from implementing the mask requirement, WCPS saw our school contact quarantine numbers reach as high as 1,900 plus students, while our students testing positive for COVID-19 reached as high as 337. Since implementing the masking requirement, we have seen the number of students and staff required to quarantine consistently decline, as well as the number of students and staff testing positive for COVID-19. Currently, we have 375 students and 7 employees in quarantine due to school contact, and 168 students and 36 employees that have tested positive for COVID-19. Let me reassure everyone again that our goal is to keep students safely at school receiving in-person instruction 5 days per week. This academic year, since August the 4th, and thanks to the phenomenal work of our staff at the school level, WCPS has remained open for full-time in-person instruction. Meanwhile, more than 40 of Kentucky school districts have had to temporarily close due to the impact of COVID-19. Why is it so important that we keep our students in school receiving in-person instruction? We know that through the pandemic last year, as students did not receive full-time in-person instruction, significant learning loss occurred for many of our students. It is truly that plain and simple. Students learn better when they are in person, learning 5 days per week. We know that having students in school helps our community move forward because our parents and guardians need to be able to maintain the ability to work regularly and provide for their families. We have not and will not ever lose sight of this important fact. We know that our students have suffered social and emotional consequences as a result of the pandemic as well. And social isolation at home only exacerbates those mental health challenges. In fact, our adults have suffered similar consequences. For many of our students, the only method for them to receive the critical mental health support they truly need is by being in our schools. Just as an example, last year, during the first month of school, when we did not have our students in school for in-person instruction 5 days per week, we had 325 students referred to our district's mental health counselors. This year alone, just in the first month of school, we've had 638 students referred to our district's mental health counselors. What does this data tell us? Having students in person 5 days a week has resulted in our educators being able to better identify students who are struggling socially and emotionally. We have an amazing team of mental health counselors, and the daily interactions between students and our staff are imperative if we are to adequately provide our students the mental health support they need. The same phenomenon applies to students who are suffering abuse. Educators make up 30% of those that report suspected child abuse. When children are not in school, not only are they exposed to their abuser more frequently, the chance that an adult outside the home can intervene to help has greatly diminished. Students need to be in school so we can facilitate getting our most vulnerable students the services they need through community partners experienced in helping victims of abuse. All of these reasons further support the decision to recommend the continuation of masking requirement as an additional layer of safety to help us mitigate the spread of COVID-19, which helps us keep our schools open so our students receive full-time in-person instruction. Another consequence of Senate Bill 1 is that it now allows school districts additional flexibility in determining quarantine guidelines and practices when a close contact occurs. Since there has been a low incidence rate of quarantined students testing positive this year, I will be recommending to our Board of Education members that WCPS implement an alternative quarantine process in which close contacts, whether they are fully vaccinated or unvaccinated, will not be required to quarantine if he or she is properly wearing a mask and is without symptoms. This is a process that is being implemented in other states, most notably Indiana, and it appears to be working very successfully. The purpose for implementing a new process is to keep students in school for in-person learning, especially considering the vast majority of our quarantined students continue not to test positive for COVID-19. The loss of in-person learning due to unnecessary quarantining is alarming, and this change will benefit our students and our staff. While I fully recognize that everyone will not agree with this decision, please keep in mind that 75% of our students' time each week is spent in a community that does not have universal masking, and quarantine protocols are almost non-existent. We are doing our part, and we will continue to do so as we safely navigate the pandemic. But I must admit that these efforts can appear futile at times, especially when we see tens of thousands of people gathering in events both locally and across the Commonwealth with little to no safety measures in place. I find our response to be both reasonable and practical as we continue to balance the needs of our students versus the needs of our greater community. I will further recommend to the Board of Education members that we evaluate the COVID and quarantine data through fall break and beyond if necessary. And we will return to the previous quarantine process developed by the Kentucky Department of Public Health if the data indicates this is necessary. In the event current conditions dramatically change, WCPS may implement additional safety measures that will assist our efforts in mitigating the spread of the virus while keeping our schools open for in-person instruction 5 days per week. I fully recognize these are difficult and challenging times for all of us. Please be assured that our district leaders, faculty, and staff are committed to continuing our best efforts to provide our students and staff with a safe environment full of opportunities for learning, growth, and achievement. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our faculty and staff who continue to go above and beyond on a daily basis. At times, we have placed unreasonable expectations upon them, but they continue to show up day after day, all on behalf of our students. They are fully committed to providing our students with high-quality, engaging learning experiences in a safe learning environment. In my 28 years as an educator, I could not have imagined a more challenging time, especially considering how long we have had to endure the pandemic. However, I've never been more inspired as I see our staff continue to represent the very best of Warren County Public Schools across our district day after day. I've observed numerous and countless acts of kindness, compassion, and support as our family of employees have pulled together to support one another and our students and their families. I also want to thank you for the outpouring of words of support that have been shared not only with me, but more importantly, our teachers, support staff, and school administrators who are directly facing these challenges day after day. This is perhaps why the greatest example of our community being so special is their tremendous efforts. And we truly have a community that is second to none. Thank you.